Hi everyone, I'm Shaelin with Reedsy, and I'm here today with another NaNoWriMo related video. Today's video is going to be slightly different from the other videos that have been on this channel. It's nearing the end of October, so if you're doing NaNoWriMo, you're probably pretty ready to go, and you've probably done most of the prep or all the prep you wanted to do. So today I'm going to do a slightly more relaxed video and talk a little bit about myself. You might know my NaNoWriMo journey if you followed me on my personal channel way back when I was doing NaNoWriMo, which was a very long time ago, but I've never really talked about my own writing journey on this channel, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to share my NaNoWriMo journey and kind of just talk about the benefits that NaNoWriMo had for me and how it shaped me as a writer, because it really did shape me as a writer. So I did NaNoWriMo 5 times. And it was every single year that I was in high school. So the first time I ever did NaNoWriMo was in 2010, and I was 13 years old, and I was in my first year of high school. I saw the term kind of float around on random social media. I don't even know where it was that I saw it. Blogs maybe? I don't even remember that. Late through November. I mean, I'm talking, we were mostly done NaNoWriMo at this point. I was like, I'm gonna look up and see what this actually is. So I looked it up. And as soon as I realized what NaNoWriMo was, I was like, I want to do that. That sounds awesome. I want to try doing that. And at the time, I was writing a novel. And I decided, instead of waiting until next year, because when you're 13, that seems so far away. Waiting a whole year seems so far away. I made an account and I signed up, and I was using the Young Writers program where you can set your own word goal. So I just set my own word goal for 15,000, and I did NaNoWriMo for like 1 week. That was my first NaNoWriMo. It was a small portion of a NaNoWriMo. So that whole year I went, and I did write, but I didn't write that much. And when the next NaNoWriMo came around, I was still writing the same novel that I had been writing the year before. This was my first ever novel, and it took me 2 NaNoWriMos to write. I also, once again, set my own word goal because I was 14 at this point and doing the Young Writers program. I don't remember exactly. It was either 25 or 30,000. And it was the last 25 or 30,000. I think it was 30,000 that I did. And that was my second NaNoWriMo. So this first novel that I wrote took me 2 nanos. It was a nano and then a year of writing slowly and then a mad dash of nano at the end. So the novel that I wrote those 2 years was called Silverbird. I don't really want to talk too much about what it was about. A girl was stranded on an island. It wasn't good. What those first 2 NaNoWriMos, especially the second one, did for me, because it was the first real one, was teach me that I could write a book. And I think that's what NaNoWriMo does for a lot of people. People who have never written a book before and have been wanting to and been trying to but never had been able to do it before. That's what it did for me, was it showed me that this was a task that I was capable of completing. Doing NaNoWriMo showed me that I can do this, and having the community and the productivity push is what allowed me to do it, but it kind of showed me that I can do this outside of NaNoWriMo. So in between that NaNoWriMo of 2011 and the next one of 2012, I wrote an entire other book. Third NaNoWriMo came around, and I had just finished my second book like a month before, and now I was going to write a sequel for it. This was when young adult dystopian was all of the craze, and I was reading so many of them, so I too set out to write a young adult dystopian novel. It was not the best fit for me because there was a lot of action involved, and I'm not very good at writing action, but again, that's kind of the beauty of NaNoWriMo, is it forces you to just write the thing you set out to write even if you're not good at it. I was still writing using the Young Writers website, so I set my word goal at 30,000 words, and I started writing, and I think 2 or 3 days in, I thought, never mind, I'm going for the full 50,000. I would find so many random points in the day to write. I would bring my laptop to school. I won NaNoWriMo again that year. I always won NaNoWriMo. The first 2 NaNoWriMos I did were with my own set word goals, but I did reach them. And then the last 3 times I did NaNoWriMo, I did write the 50,000. So I wrote the 50,000 words. Going into NaNoWriMo of 2013, I was halfway through a novel. And I thought, this is great. I'm gonna write the last 50,000 words of it for NaNoWriMo. Now, I think in retrospect, it's actually harder to start halfway through than it is to start at the beginning, because halfway through you are in the middle and you've probably lost some momentum and you're you're in the middle. The middle of the book is hard. Times where I started at the beginning were easier than times when I started at the middle, but it was more satisfying at the end of the month when I started in the middle, because then I would get to the end. So that NaNoWriMo, I wrote the last 50,000 words of a manuscript. I'd been 40,000 words in at the beginning. This novel that I wrote in 2013 is a novel that I'm still, like, it's not shelved forever. That novel was called The Definition of Impossible. It's a weird kind of gothic horror thing. No one, including me, has ever been able to know what genre it's in. Now, the version I wrote for NaNoWriMo was not very good. I don't think it was bad because I wrote it for NaNoWriMo. I think it was bad just because I was a young one at the time and I didn't know what I was doing. The last NaNoWriMo I ever did was in 2014. This was my last year of high school, but this year I decided to try something different. I had always pantsed my novels. I had never worked from an outline before. Through NaNoWriMo, I'd gotten more involved with the writing community. I'd started making YouTube videos, I'd done NaNoWriMo vlogs the year before, and they were extremely low quality. The lowest of the low quality. I literally filmed those NaNoWriMo vlogs on my iPod because I did not have a camera. Yeah. They weren't good, but it did get me into the writing community. So being involved with the writing community, more and more so, just because of NaNoWriMo, exposed me to different ways of writing a book. So I kind of thought I was going to try outlining. It was something I'd never done before. So that NaNoWriMo of 2014, I wrote my book from an outline. So the novel that I wrote for this final NaNoWriMo I did was called Chain Reaction. It was a really difficult book to write because the main characters are way smarter than me and they're scientists. My education in science was grade 11 physics and grade 11 chemistry, so I wasn't exactly at the caliber of my own characters. Grade 12 chem was the worst grade on my high school transcript, so this really wasn't my area of expertise. But again, that's the good thing about NaNoWriMo, is it forces you to write the thing that's out of your comfort zone. The content was so difficult because it was so sciencey. Did I do a good job writing it? I definitely didn't, but it forced me to just do it. You know, I could have sat with that book in my brain for my whole life and gone, I'm never going to be able to write this because it's too hard and I don't have the knowledge basis for it, but I just did it because there was this challenge here and I had the story in my head, and so I wrote it. I finished NaNoWriMo on the 23rd that year because working from an outline just made it so much easier, and I felt like at that point I was really good at doing NaNoWriMo, where I kind of knew how to fit it into my schedule, and so I finished NaNoWriMo super early on the 23rd. I did finish the book. The book was so short. It's way too short. It's a 53,000 word novel. It was satisfying that year to write a full book start to finish. Normally I was only writing half of a book, whether that be the first half or the second half, but that year it was an entire novel, so that was the entire novel in 23 days. And that's a novel that I'm also still working on. I recently adapted it to be a TV show for a school assignment. So that's kind of my NaNoWriMo story. Thank you so much for watching, and you can subscribe for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time.